Lesson 4, the tracks from the cat family, and this is also a free lesson to watch for anyone interested in, in on YouTube. So if you're first and just curious, welcome and enjoy this lesson. Hopefully it is what you're looking for. With cats, just as dogs, you can regularly find cat tracks, and the sooner you have those domestic animals stored in your head, the better. So that's why we start close to home. There are not many varieties in the cats in Europe, so besides domestic cats, we have feral cats, the real wild cat, and the lynx. And beware, with the domestic cats, they can be really far away from any home, so you can find them anywhere, any forest, woodland, whatever, you can find domestic cats, so bear that in mind. Then, the biggest cat in Europe, just a nice picture, is this lynx. Let's start with the front foot of a cat. Just as with a dog, cats have 5 toes on the front, but 9 out of 10 you only see 4. The track overall shape is rounded, it has a roundish appearance, very important feature. The front tracks are bigger than the hinds. And toes have a capsule shape. You can beautifully see this in this picture, and some people like to call it bean shape. The metacarpal pad is large. And the track itself is a bit slightly asymmetrical, and you can check this by looking at the position of the toes. There's no nails visible, but never say never. I'll get to this later. At the bottom of the picture, you can see the carpal pad, and on the right side of the foot you can barely see it, but there's the thumb hidden in the fur. If you compare this with your own hand, and you have to look into your palm of your right hand, then your thumb is on the outside, just as this with this picture, and that makes this a right front of a cat. Here's a hind track of the same cat. The hind track is less asymmetrical. The metacarpal pad is still large, and at the bottom of this pad you can see the 3 lobes. And I'd like to compare this with how a kid draws a human nose. On the hind tracks only have 4 toes, and the metacarpal is a bit more tower-like shape. It's a bit more elongated compared to the more compressed pad of the front foot. Here they are once more, so it's easier to compare front and hind all together. Look at the different shape of the metacarpal pad. The top of both these metacarpals in front and hind is a bit flattened. You can clearly see this. 3 lobes at the base, both in hinds and fronts, but they are different. You see, in the front, the picture on the left has a different bottom part of the metacarpal pad than the one on the right, the hind foot. Then, for comparison, because this is what it's all like in the field. This is a cat track, 2 cat tracks even on a sandy road, and it's what you can see here is a feature of cats. Cats tracks are very often close to one another, or sometimes the hind track is on top of the front. In this case, the hind track is the side of the front track. There's a little overlap. What do you think is the hind, and what do you think is the front? Time's up. On the left, that's the front. It's more roundish, it's more compressed like. And on the hind track is on the right, and it's a bit more tower shape, as said, and it's also a bit more elongated. Nice to see in this one. Here's a beautiful front track in wet mud. Another feature of cats to look for is that the toes are small compared to the metacarpal, and the toes are very close to that metacarpal. There's hardly any negative space. 3 lobes at the base. Beautiful to see here. And what sticks out again is the large shape of the pad compared to the toes. In a cat track, the metacarpal pad uses most of the space. And as said, this is a cat front track. Another cat track, and this time, in this case, it's a cat track in wet sand. Again, you can see the 3 lobes. And the toes are still small compared to the metacarpal pad. And the sides of this pad are slightly sloping down. And you see, hope you can see what I mean. And can you see the thumb? It's barely registering on the right side. If you go sort of make a line from about 3.5 centimeters and then go to the right, yeah, you can see the little thumb compressed in the sand. So if that's a thumb, that means this is a front track. And if that thumb, like in this case, is on the right side, it means it's a track from a left front cat track. Now, I can totally understand if you think this is a confusing track, because it is, but it's still a cat track. And what I just explained, you can hardly see it, because now there's a lot of difference, space between the toes and the metacarpal pad. The metacarpal pad has a weird shape. I can see nails, I can see long toes. What's this? But it's still a cat track. And toes are flexible, another feature of cats. You can see in this case a beautiful example. And this, why is this such a weird track? Because this cat was in a gallop. This is part of a gallop. This cat was running for its life because my dog was chasing the cat. Don't tell anyone. She was in a gallop off to a tree. But you can still see the 3 lobes at the bottom of the metacarpal pad. And the nails and the toes visible, that's all because this cat needed grip because he was running. Another pair of cat tracks in mud. Cats show no nails. That's what you read in a lot of books. Well, they do show nails, like in this case. The top track is the front track, and on the hind you can see at least 2 nails, and they are good to have a look at because cat nails are sharp and very thin, and they make a sort of upside down V shape. You see the outer lines of the nails clearly imprinted in this mud. Here's a nice puzzle. You can't see this, but this is a hay bale from a farmer, and this is a pile of hay covered in plastic, and on top of that plastic I found this puzzle, because it is a puzzle, and that's how you can find them in the field, so it's practical. There's no track complete here, but from top down you see, first you see just a group of tracks, then something like a metacarpal, and then again some toes. But if you combine what you see, you can still say in the end this is a cat. And why is that? So first of all, I see asymmetrical toes. Look at the lowest part with the 4 toes. They are asymmetrical. I can see the shape of the toes. They are bean shaped. Then you have this metacarpal pad. I can clearly see the 3 lobes. Remember the kid nose, how a kid draws a nose. And at the top again you can see those toes, and they really look like capsule shape or bean shape. And what I said, it's I found these tracks on a hay bale in plastic, so it's also a good thing to zoom out. Where am I? So this is totally not a place for a hare or a rabbit. So this is a typical place for a cat to jump on top of the hay bale. Then the biggest cat of Europe, a lynx. Cats that we just looked at have average size of 2.5–3 centimeters long, and this is something else. This is a lynx. It's a lynx male, and he has feet up to 8 centimeters long. That's really big. This lynx, by the way, was caught for monitoring reasons, so he was set free again, and that's why we know it's a male lynx. But I was super happy with receiving this nice picture. And so you have all the information that was given with it. And look at the very furry feet. That's a feature especially for lynx. Here's a track in mud. Asymmetrical. That's one thing that sticks out. Long capsule-shaped toes. Big metacarpal. And again, the metacarpal takes most of the space of this track. one of my own pictures I'm happy with. I took these pictures in the Harz where we run a winter course on snow trekking. The last picture I just showed was a track about 7 centimeters long, and this one is 7 centimeters wide, so it's another great example that cat tracks have a round appearance. And you can see 2 tracks in this photo, but in fact there's 4. That's a crazy story, because underneath these clear tracks there are 2 different tracks. So this Lynx walked exactly in the same trail another Lynx walked, or maybe he returned in his own steps, but that's a fantastic story. These Lynx tracks are beautiful. I've used them for that reason in my tracking book. And it's also a very nice example of a track with a scale. If there was no pocket knife on the side of the track in this picture, this could have been a domestic cat, who knows. But now with the knife aside, you can say, wow, that's a big one. And it is. It's a Lynx for sure. The hind track is below. You can see it's more elongated. And the front track is above. So it's more roundish. And with toes clearly can be seen, they are close to the metacarpal pad. Then a detour, we step into the fashion world, because this is a catwalk. And it's a favorite gait of a cat. Cats love to walk. They don't like to trot or to gallop or to run. They just, if they can, they walk. And it looks like this. All tracks are like a string with beads. Almost all in a line. And especially with the 2 lowest ones, you can see 2 tracks in each circle. That means there's a hind foot on top of a front foot. And this is a favorite way for a cat to walk, and especially this one is a beautiful example in a very thin layer of snow. Almost there, almost the last picture. It's always good to have a comparison with other species, like in this case with a dog. Dogs and cats can be very tricky to keep apart. In this case it's not so difficult because the dog at the bottom is really big compared to the small cats on top. But still, I'd like to show you this picture. With the dog you can see that the toes make up the biggest part of the track. And the metacarpal pad is smaller in percentage than all 4 toes together. And with the cat, the 2 tracks at the top part of the picture, it's the other way around. The metacarpal pad takes most of the space. Toes are small, and these toes could fit in the metacarpal pad, especially with the track on top. That's the front foot of the cat. You can almost fit all 4 toes in the metacarpal pad. If you try to do this with the dog track below, maybe you can fit 2 toes into the metacarpal, but that's about it. So you can't fit them all in. It's a nice trick to use in the field. Then in my classes, just for fun, I'd like to make a little connection with the following lesson, which is lesson 5 about lagomorphs, rabbit and hare. So below in this picture you see cat tracks, and on top in the blue circle is a hare track. And so that's a nice, what we call, bridge to the next lesson. And then this is an extra photo, because as this is a free lesson to watch on YouTube, feel free to have a look at our webpage if you're interested. And on our webpage you find all the information needed about this beautiful trekking sign course. Okay, that's it. For the rest, up to lesson 5, lagomorphs.